Now, will you please welcome the Senior Director, Strategic Sourcing, Diversity, and Inclusion at Major League Baseball, which is the sponsors of this morning's very special Champions Huddle, Mr. Cory Smith.
Good morning. I wasn't expecting so many of y'all this early. MLB is honored to sponsor the Championships Huddle this morning, and we're going to have some fun talking about some really great things. Thank you to Adrian, obviously, and everyone in the NMSDC network. We're excited for this upcoming discussion. I think everybody's really going to enjoy it. You know, sport has been at the forefront of diversity, injustice, and equality issues for decades. Whether it was Tommy Smith and John Carlos raising the Black Power fist at the 1968 Olympics, or Muhammad Ali refusing to be drafted in 1967 during the Civil Rights era, or even today, Colin Kaepernick taking a knee in protest of injustice. Diversity and sport have been intertwined throughout history. For MLB, we never lose sight of the historical importance and social impact of Jackie Robinson integrating baseball in 1947. I think we can all agree that the need for economic parity is as important as social justice, and therefore the need for diverse business ownership, entrepreneurship, and growing minority ownership platform is key. MLB has been, is, and will continue to be proactive in its diversity and inclusion efforts, supplier diversity specifically, and will continue to be at the forefront of the sports industry in that regard. It's a part of our business. We do this 24/7. It's not a reaction to injustice, but a part of our strategy to balance inequality. So it's not reactive, it's proactive. It's the difference between offense and defense. Defense is important. Defense will stop the other team from scoring, but if you yourself are not putting points on the board, you don't actually win the game. And MLB Supplier Diversity is a winning initiative through our innovation and our impact, which is this year's conference theme. Speaking of winning the game, we thought it incredibly important to have this morning's discussion, which will look at life after the game and the transition to entrepreneurship and economic impact. Moderating the huddle this morning will be Ying McGuire. Ying is Global Vice President of Technology Integration Group, an NMSDC Corporate Plus member, and a digital transformation solutions provider with 22 offices in the US and a global presence. Ying? Let's give it up for Ying. Come on. And how about a great big welcome for our special guest, NFL all-time leading rusher, Super Bowl champion, and legendary Dallas Cowboy, Mr. Emmitt Smith. There's the big man. There he is. Snuck up on us. Emmitt will share with us how he built a successful business and found a new direction. Ying, Emmitt, have fun.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, Cory, for Major League Baseball for sponsoring this session. Give a Cory a big hand. Well, good morning, NMSDC. Welcome to Austin, my home in America. I ordered rain and cold air for you this morning. I am thrilled to sit next to one of the most celebrated champions on and off the field. It's my honor.
Thank you.
Emmitt, you had an amazing career. I had to watch all the videos and back for 14 seasons. You were the leading rusher in NFL history. You helped Cowboy. Who's a Cowboy fan here? Woo! You helped the Cowboy to win 3 Super Bowl championships. So you have 3 rings. Which one do you decide to wear today?
None of them.
None
of them.
It was kept in a security box. And you were Super Bowl MVP and NFL Hall of Fame. So you could have rested on your laurels and enjoyed endorsements, but instead you chose to start a business. Why?
Well, first of all, let me just say it's an honor for me to be here at the NMSDC event this morning, and I thank you for the invitation. But to answer your question in terms of why, I've always, I ain't gonna say always, but I learned this throughout the process of playing sports. You're always taught different things and you learn different lessons from various people. And one of my coaches in high school, Dwight Thomas.
What's his name?
Dwight Thomas. Share with me and our team, never be satisfied with anything, because the day that you do, the growing stops. And so upon retiring and knowing that retirement was upon me, but I had to go through the process of football to see that football was going to definitely come to an end. I knew it was going to come to an end, just didn't know when. That's one thing us athletes don't know.
What year was that?
I retired in 2005, and so started in 1990. It can happen at any point in time. But being mentally prepared for the transition, that's something that we all athletes must go through. And so knowing that I was going to retire at the age of 35, knowing that there's only so many rounds of golf that I want to play, there's only so many vacations that I truly want to take, I wanted to continue to stimulate my mind and go after something much greater than I've been able to accomplish on the football field. And to me, that was free enterprise. I've been around so many different owners who all own different types of businesses. And I've always asked the question, if this man is able to pay us this kind of money, how much money is he really making? And
That's a great question.
And so in doing that analysis, I come to realize that my owner, Jerry Jones, was in the oil and gas business. He also was in the real estate business. He also was in the leverage business. He leveraged the Dallas Cowboys from $140 million to about $5 billion right about now. And I was a part of that process. And so leaving some of the equity on the table is what I'm seeing right now, because the value that was created for the Dallas Cowboys occurred in the 1990s. It hasn't occurred in the 2000s yet. They're still trying to get their first Super Bowl, and the Cowboys are still living off of the last Super Bowl that our team won in 1995.
That makes sense. So, why did you choose real estate business?
Well, real estate was one of those things that, I started to invest in real estate in the 90s, bought my first condo in Florida, then I bought some Walgreens, and then I started investing into certain funds with the Roger Staubach Company. And in doing such, I started asking the question again, follow the money trail, what's happening? Obviously, every development now you have to have either your own equity or you have other folks' equity. And so, and in doing such, investing in that fund, my equity served as part of the equity of a development project. And I got my returns, I got my equity back and all those things. But then I started asking those fundamental questions. How did a deal get put together? What happens in the whole process of a development process?
Who was your mentor in that learning process?
Well, Roger Staubach was a mentor from afar in terms of watching what he was able to do in the Roger Staubach Company. Roger built his company and sold it in 2008 to a company called Jones Lang LaSalle, a full-service real estate company. And I started with the Staubach Company in 2005. But I started on the development side, doing development work, but at the same time I was learning what the brokers was doing and how they all kind of interacted with one another. And so seeing that interconnectivity between tenant representation business and understanding site selection from a development standpoint is something that I was able to learn. Like anything else, if someone else learned it, you can learn it as well. And so being an athlete and having the ability to not only just run the football, but also catch the football and the ability to block, I had to be very diverse in my position in order to create the value for myself and for my teammates. And even in business, if you have the bandwidth, you create enough of the velocity that's required to make yourself sticky, if you will. And so being a developer, being in the brokerage services business, having a construction company, and also a finance and investment company into the America's infrastructure, that's the platform that we have created under E. Smith Legacy Holdings. And so for us, we're just trying to get our niche and help companies who are definitely focused on minority companies that have the bandwidth, but also the scalability to take on larger projects and also mentor other companies as well.
That's amazing. Can you be my mentor in real estate?
I don't think you need one, but if you need somebody, we can definitely help you out.
Okay, did you hear? He's going to be my mentor.
I didn't say I would, I said we can help you out.
So what was the, when you transitioned from athlete to business,
Right.
what were some of the obstacles that you came across? How did you overcome it?
You know,
Tell stories.
some of the bigger obstacles I still face this day, and as an athlete, the general assessment is that you are an athlete, and that's all that you will ever be. And so people put limits on how they see. They put you in a box and how they see you. And as an athlete, I think our challenge is always trying to get outside of that box and show that we are a lot more than just physical and emotional on the football field and all those things. But we actually can think, and we are smart. And so I think that some of those challenges of people taking you serious as an athlete versus being a figurehead in a company and not really knowing what's going on within your business. That part has been a challenge as well. And then not to mention the challenges of as a minority company itself, competing against traditional companies that's been there and have had relationships with certain companies for a long period of time. You have to think about it. The person that's in charge of making a decision, they're trying to make the right decision for the company, and they're trying to find the less riskiest company that they can invest in to get the job done, because their job is on the line. And so when you're looking at a minority company, sometimes the risk profile may be too high from the perception standpoint versus the reality. I think all minority companies are aspiring to be the very best that they can possibly be. And all we're asking for is an opportunity to get on the playing field, to showcase our talent and showcase what we can do as a company, and so we can earn the right to do more business with every company that we work with. And so I think that's the motivation. And so for me, it's trying to break through that cluster of we can't find qualified individuals to do certain things. And my question is, are you really looking in the right places? Or are you looking in the same places? That's just my question. Because the reality of the fact is there are great minority companies out here that are just looking for the opportunity. And if you take some of your bigger projects and you break them things down, you can create all kinds of level of minority participation. Every project has to have some type of financing. So you can start with the financing side of it. And every project is going to have some kind of service tied to it, whether it's architecture service, engineering services, or even brokerage services. You heard me mention JLL and the Starbucks company. So real estate might be a part of all these things. And then you go even further now, you got other things. You got operations and maintenance of certain facilities. And then if you get deeper into it, if it's a structure, now you're going into the construction space. So you have supplies and all these kind of things. So there's so much room to create minority participation and minority involvement at all kinds of levels. And so we, businesses as leaders, thought leaders, and really are focused on serving the community as a masses, not just a segment of the community, should start thinking about how they pair these folks up and make some of these big general headliners or the tier one companies, make them earn the right to work with some of these minority companies that are truly able to perform.
Spread the wealth. Spread
it out. Give us a chance. I mean, first of all, we're not going to catch up to you because some of these companies are 50 years old and 100 years old anyway. Let's be real. And so they are established in that vein, but at the same time, you do have some companies that are growing, that have the bandwidth, the emerging companies and they have the the quality service that is there.
So we have plenty of qualified MBEs at all different level, all different spending category.
You do, but you also have those kinds of companies, MBE companies that are serving as front companies for other companies. So
Talking about pass-through.
yeah, pass-through companies.
Let's
Yeah,
talk about it.
yeah.
So what's your view on that?
I think it's killing the industry. I think it's killing minority companies, and it continues it continues the storyline, because a company may take a fee on this project, but lose also the other 95% of the project. And even in the construction space, I've seen it a lot more there than other industries.
So what we're asking is we need to adhere to the true spirit of supply diversity.
I think if you really want to have a diversity program, you have to stay to the true spirit of it and really do everything in your power to protect it. But not only that, protect it, but create room for companies to literally get out there and compete for the job and earn the right to do business at the highest level.
Well, thank you very much. So what role did NMSDC play? How important has MBE certification been to your success and your journey?
Well,
Business.
first and foremost, I didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it. I really wanted to go in and conduct business without having anything associated with it. But when you quickly find out that, again, you have to go through, you're trying to find the least path of resistance to get an opportunity. And so, but it has served a tremendous role in terms of how corporations actually isolate certain projects or give minority companies an opportunity to get in the game. So the first and foremost thing you have to do is get in the game. If you're not in the game, you really can't participate and you really can't be effective or show that the program is really worth its while. And so I think by being a minority certified company, it has opened certain doors. But just because the door is open don't mean that you're going to always get the opportunity. And so, but as long as the door is open, you have a chance.
So getting certification is just like open the door. You have access. So what do you do with it after?
It's like having a name. Emmitt Smith is calling you. Somebody may pick up the phone. Yes, Emmitt Smith shows up. But if I have a team that cannot execute against anything, what's the use of having a name? And so if I can bring a team in there that can actually execute against the job description and we perform, then it works. So having certification is just one part of it. You, as an individual company, actually have to get in there and perform. You have to show a commercial useful function whenever you're participating in any job description that you earn.
So the MBE certification is a door opener. You still have to be the best and compete in the field. You
have to be the best. And again, not resting on your laurels. And if you have a little success, great. Making it to the National Football League was just a goal to get there, but the biggest goal was to stay in the National Football League for as long as I could. And so in order to do that, I had to do certain things, train correctly, perform on a consistent basis, and I ended up doing it for 15 years, a lot longer than I anticipated. And that's no different than anything that we do in business. You have to get there and perform.
Well, thank you. Let's take a look at Emmitt Smith in business environment.
He still holds the reign as NFL's all-time leading rusher. Former running back Emmitt Smith has since transformed himself into quite the entrepreneur, developing several companies in real estate and construction. Now the Hall of Famer is getting into the barbershop business.
I think men actually now have a place to go and get their grooming, just like females have a place to go get their grooming and get all pampered up and dolled up and feel good and feel real pretty.
Smith has partnered with the men's lifestyle club, The Gents Place, a men's-only spa where they can get everything from a haircut to a shave all in one spot.
Unlike most people don't know is that they think of him as a professional athlete, but he's actually an incredible businessman and a real estate expert, one of the best that I know.
Ben Davis founded The Gents Place in Texas in 2008, and is now hoping to grow it into a national franchise.
We're looking at growing to 150 franchise locations nationwide over the next 5 years.
So tell me a little bit about your role with the company and how you plan to make this a franchising empire.
My role with the company is also is to open up doors for people who want to have a franchise like Gym Place. We're giving them the opportunity to get returns that we're starting to see on our side of the equation. But most importantly, to be involved with the movement, what I would call a movement.
That movement, Smith says, is empowering men to look and feel their best.
When I walked out, I walked out feeling confident, not arrogant, but confident, and feeling like $1 million, and looking like, trying to think I'm looking like $1 million at the same time.
Am I allowed to visit the Jan's place?
Yeah, they won't kick you out.
I'm going to go there with my high heels. So that's amazing. So how are diversity and inclusion mirrored within your business?
Is at the very highest level. We have male and female, black, white, even Hispanic. Our biggest diverse workforce would be in the construction industry, where we have 30 own salary people, and then we have about 50 to 75, and at times we get up to 100 in the field working on a construction site. So that's the most diverse area that we actually have. So when it comes down to real estate side of it, my team is very diverse.
Excellent. Well, you walk the talk.
Well,
Thank you for supporting
you
it.
have to. This is something that I truly believe in. I believe in creating opportunities, not only for myself, but also leaving the light on, as Tom Bourdain would say, for others. And so when you have an opportunity to do, I ain't gonna say great things, but when you have the opportunity to do things that creates a vacuum or a door opener for others, I think it's just incumbent upon us who are in leadership roles or have those opportunities to create more opportunities for others to do as well. And so I was inspired to play the game of football through watching great people who came before me and people who laid down the foundation before me. And so I just try to do my part to continue that tradition. And so it's the same thing in business. Trying to inspire others to their level of greatness is what we all are inspired by. And whether it's a Jerry Jones inspiring me, or Walter Payton inspiring me on the football field, or Roger Staubach even in business, or Magic Johnson, for example, even in business. So having those type of people out in front of us to show us that you can do business at this level is inspiring.
Well, thank you, Emmitt. So we have many passionate and corporate members here who are committed to advance minority business development. What are the inspirational words do you have them this morning?
Well, I would just say from a corporation standpoint, continue to focus on this area of minority inclusion and think about it from the perspective of evaluation. Evaluating the tier 1 guys, because think about it, most of the time tier 2 and tier 3 doesn't get a chance to talk to tier 1 or to the owner. And so take a deeper look into every aspect of the tiers or the subcontracting aspect of what you're doing. And also, for me, I think it begins with policy. I think policy set the tempo of a lot of different things. And like I said earlier, you can break some of these pieces up. And I understand corporations may have a ton of projects and they want the general to manage some of these projects. That's why you have these regional contracts and so forth. And they got one person to turn to because it makes it a little bit simpler. But yet at the same time, it may be simple for you, but you don't understand what's happening below the iceberg. And below the iceberg is where a lot of the problems occur. And I think you might want to really take a deeper dive in understanding the plight of a minority company trying to do business with your corporation.
So speaking of the policy, in the backstage, we were talking about we must make effort to place minority on the corporate board. The corporate board would drive the policy change.
It would definitely bring a different perspective to the boardroom. Because first of all, we all are here linked to try and make everything that we're trying to do better. I think no one really wants to get in business to lose. People want to get in business to win. And when weed out the ones who are just there faking the funk, then the rest of them has the chance to rise up. And so, but at the same time, we are all connected, one way or the other. The only way America gets better again if we all do it all together. It's not going to be done by one individual company. It has to be done by a group of people that are coming from diverse backgrounds, that have different thoughts, that is driving towards the right goal, the right mission, and that is to be successful as a country, period.
Better together.
Better
Thank you.
together.
So back to you, what was the first deal, first transaction that made you say, okay, this is real, I think I can do this?
Well, my NFL contract was my first transaction. Yeah, if you must know the truth on that one, but.
Business.
That was business. That was business. My first intro into business. But from a corporation standpoint, I think putting together teams and the team that I have assembled on the construction side as well on the real estate side, closing a big transaction with a major corporation. Newmark Knight & Frank it was a huge success for us. And working with them and having the ability to tap into corporate America and tap into 400 offices around the globe, as well as 15,000 brokers, and to represent major institutions, whether it's Toyota or AT&T or someone like that, has been that platform, and that transaction was huge for us.
That's amazing scale too. So what advice do you have for people who's transitioning from career to entrepreneurship?
Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Be courageous, and do not be afraid to fail. You can learn a lot in failure, but also you take the risk. And as owners, we do take a lot of risks. And we rely on the people that we hire to help us grow our businesses. And so I just say step out there on faith and be courageous. If this is something that you want to do in terms of being an entrepreneur and being an owner, you have to take the risk. And you cannot get in the game sitting on the sideline. And so, so go for it and give it your all. Think about what it is that you're trying to do. Make sure whatever it is that you're doing, you're passionate about, because if you're not passionate about it, it ain't gonna work, because the minute it get hard, the minute you're gonna quit. So stay driven, stay focused, stay committed, and go out there and make it happen.
Well, thank you so much, Emmitt. Well, thank you for your wisdom, knowledge, and insights, and we are grateful that you take the time out of your busy schedule to be with us. But this is just the beginning of the dialogue.
Yes.
We'll be here all night. No, just kidding.
She will.
So I think this conversation will continue.
Yeah.
And we would love to have you as part of the Brain Trust to help us to shape the future of NMSDC and minority business development. Ladies and gentlemen, give up for Emmitt Smith.
Thank you.